As you all probably know, a couple of weeks back, we announced that we were launching the very first ever Wakelet Community Impact Awards, and the response has been absolutely phenomenal so far. A big, big thank you to everybody who's already submitted their applications and their nominations. It's a good one, this one, isn't it, James?
Mm-hmm.
This is something which it's super significant, and as a team, um, we're in a really nice position because we get to see all of the incredible stories that you've shared, and just from a community perspective as well, James, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, we already knew that a lot of people in our community were doing a lot of great things for their school community, but also for the wider community as well. And this award, as you'll learn throughout, is to celebrate those certain people, those types of people. And that's also if it's you or if you want to nominate someone else as well. But we believe it's been a bit of a weird year, hasn't it, Misbah? And we thought this was our way of kind of celebrating those that have been a shining light throughout it.
So do you want to kick it? So we're going to do this is James is going to ask the questions and then I'm going to try and provide the answers. This is the format that we're going to do it in. So what's your first question, James?
Yeah, the way it's going to work is I'm essentially the spokesperson for the community. So I've got a few questions that I've already gathered from people who've asked questions about the award and what it is, and we'll cover a few of them. And then after that, if you have any questions, use that Q&A box down below, and that'll allow me to ask Misbah the questions. Because after all, he is the brainchild behind the Impact Award. He's helped lead it, so he'll have all the answers for anything you have to ask. So the first question, really, I think it's the best place to start, Misbah, is we'll kind of touch on it a bit, but why did we create the Wakelet Community Impact Award?
Okay, so myself and the rest of the team, every single day, we have really, really good relationships with our ambassadors and community members. We talk on WhatsApp, we're constantly Skyping each other, and what started happening was, especially over the pandemic, we started to hear stories from our community of things that they were doing within their communities that blew our minds, that these really selfless, incredible acts of humanity that were help making things better for people in their community. And what happened was I started to think to myself, and I was like, I'm hearing these stories from our community members who are, driving around their neighborhoods and their districts, handing packages of work out to students who don't have access to the internet during school closures, going out of their time to do that. Teachers who are doing these amazing like lunch programs, for example, for their students. Teachers who are holding mindfulness exercises and mindfulness groups for their students to try and cope and make sense of this crazy world that's happening around them. And it just dawned on me that throughout this whole pandemic, everything that's been measured has been measured around whether or not the schools have been opened or not. That's the measuring stick as to what stage the pandemic has been at. And I think that the moment that everybody took notice and realized that this is something which is severe and global and extreme was when the schools closed, because schools are a really good parameter of how stable and functioning the society is. And that really is a testament to everything that you guys do as teachers in the community. And these stories just kept coming through. And, we've got educators who are in refugee camps, for example, and every single day they're trying to, despite the conditions in the refugee camp, despite this looming threat of a pandemic happening in such an environment as a refugee camp, are still, actively taking steps to try and teach their students and create this amazing learning environment for learners. And so it just dawned on me, I was like, teachers, possibly one of the most important roles right now, and going forward, I think that if there's anything that this whole situation has shown, it's how important teachers are, how important the profession that you guys have chosen is to society, not just to your students, but to everything. And so we decided, what, these stories that we hear, we want to try and amplify them. We want to be able to share these stories with people to show that, in the doom and gloom of all of this, there's so many amazing rays of hope and sunshine through it that really brings home how human we are and how kind of connected we all are. And so we decided to, what's the best way of sharing these stories? Well, let's do an award. Let's create an award that helps people encourages people to share these stories and really reward the person who in that community has impacted their community the most and done some amazing things. And honestly, that's everybody. Everybody has a story. Every single one of you who are speaking right now, whether you know it or not, has impacted a student, impacted their communities, done something amazing and special within their learning communities, and you should apply for the Wakelet Community Impact Award. Everybody, it's open to everybody. A lot of people have been nominating other teachers as well, and this is a really good point. The Impact Award is open for anybody to join, and a lot of people, some people I know, especially like in the UK, we're not that comfortable talking about the things that we've done. You should be, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking to share those stories. So as we look around and this becomes more global, we're finding these incredible stories coming in, and we're finding people who know of other educators in their community who are sending in a nomination on their behalf. So that was the inspiration behind the award, really, understanding this amazing paradigm shifting event that has caused us to realize how incredible educators are and how powerful their existence and your jobs are, and how we can amplify your stories and how we can also reward that as well. So that's the inspiration behind the award.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think we can all say that this is from us being not educators, so we're kind of looking from an outside perspective. How teachers really have been the unsung heroes during this whole thing. Maybe not congratulated as much as you should be. And like Ms. said, you have kind of stepped out of almost like teaching and become a lot of other roles for students, but then also for parents and the rest of the community. So yeah, that's the reason why we felt like we had to in some way celebrate those stories and showcase what's happening in your communities as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for this award, and what I've seen so far has been incredible. But I suppose that the next thing is then people are quite excited by this award, Misbah. They might be thinking, oh, that reminds me of a certain person from the school or a certain person in their community. How would someone go about entering themselves into this or nominating someone else?
Yeah, so it's really easy. I'm going to share my screen real quick for you all here. And James, if you'd be able to share the link to the screen which I'm about to share, that would be fantastic.
Will do.
Give me a moment. Okay, so you should all be able to see this here. This is a Wakelet account, wakelet.com/Wakelet Impact Award. Now, what we really want to encourage is for you to head over to this link and begin your application process. It's very easy to apply. You have to create a Wakelet collection explaining the things that you've done to positively impact your community, and use evidence that that may be from within your community. This can be anything from a certificate that you may have received to photo evidence of you participating in that activity. And sometimes in some cases as well, things like Facebook posts and tweets and things, just to kind of support how important it is that what you've been doing and support that activity. So you head to wakelet.com/Wakelet Impact Award, and you'll see all of the information that you need right here. Now, as you can see, you've got 4 different collections about how to enter, criteria, terms and conditions, and tips and ideas for your application. So we've spoken about we've spoken about why. So we'll go through to how to enter. In this collection, you'll be able to just very, very quickly pick up and understand the details of how to actually submit your entry to the Wakelet Impact Award. We've got step 1, which is create a Wakelet collection to showcase you or your nominee's story. Try and use as much evidence as you can to demonstrate the impact that you've made on the community around them. We've kept this very wide, by the way. The impact doesn't necessarily have to be around students. It doesn't necessarily have to be only around schools. It can be your community in general. You could volunteer for a particular charity or something. You know, it doesn't even have to be about education. You know, you could volunteer, you know, for a sports team or something like that. Anything that you feel you've significantly made a contribution to the community on, you can share it in this collection. Step 2 is you just click this link to fill in the application form with your details. And when you click that link, you'll get to a quick type form. It takes 2 minutes to go through it. You just answer a few questions and then you click submit. I'll go back now. And the deadline submission is Friday, the 9th of April. You'll realize in a moment why you really want to get your applications through before then. Otherwise, you're going to be missing out, and we wouldn't want you to miss out. We want as many people to have the opportunity to win this award as possible. Okay, the second collection which I wanted to show you is the criteria, the terms and conditions. So there are a few rules which you have to, not rules, but a few different pieces of criteria, which really aren't that restrictive at all. You have to be 18 years of age or older. You have to be an educator, a figure, or a leader in your community, which all of you are. You have to demonstrate or show evidence of the impact that you've made on your community. And I know that a lot of you are very busy collecting and organizing the things that you do, even on Wakelet anyway, right? So whether you've attended a webinar or held a webinar or done something you community, you share that on Wakelet, you save that on Wakelet anyway, so that's really good. Applications must be submitted in the form of a Wakelet collection. They must be written in English, and applicants must not be prohibited from participating or receiving the prize under the applicable law of their country. So certain jurisdictions may not allow you to actually receive a prize, so just double check. But honestly, I think 99% of the time, that's completely fine. We've also got judging criteria, which you should definitely take a look at before you submit your application. This really shows how to submit your application and what the judges are going to be looking for. Now, we've got an incredible lineup of judges. Nobody on the Wakelet team is a judge because we want to keep it completely fair. And they're all independent judges, and they're going to be judging the contest in a really fair way. So that's awesome. But this is what the judges will be looking for, this list here. And then you've got the terms and conditions as well, which you can have a brief read over, but it's really just to protect you and to protect us. But nothing that interesting on in that area, to be honest with you. But definitely read it either way. Now we go back into the last collection, which is tips and ideas for your application. So in this collection, it's very important. Here are a few tips and tricks to get you started with your application and how to actually submit it. Now, honestly, some of the applications that we've received, I think that people have felt a sense of urgency, and they've tried to get it done in like 10 minutes. Don't worry about it. Your collection should be a work in progress, okay? Collection is something which you create and then you can add to it in a few days. Again, you know when the deadline is, so you've got plenty of time to really create a good application, because that's what's going to be looked at. The collection should include lots of different mixed media to kind of showcase why you should get the Wakelet Impact Award. Videos, text, articles, anything that Wakelet can use, really. And again, your application is completely your own. Okay, even though we've got a few tips, we want to see you get innovative. We want to get to see you share things in a different way as usual. Get creative as much as you want. Anything that makes you stand out and makes our judges understand, okay, this person has really impacted their community in a really positive way. And then you've got a few reasons of things that you should be able to put into your application. Things like setting up after school clubs, designating personal time helping other people, voluntary work within your community, kindness, generosity, passion, that kind of thing. And we've got some helpful resources here to help you show how to actually use Wakelet. Also, big one, use a Flipgrid video as well. Record a Flipgrid video into Wakelet, because that's an amazing way for you to actually explain who you are, introduce yourself, and explain a few of the different things which you've been up to in the last year. Also, this is important. Projects which you've been a part of should have taken place in the last 12 months. So if you did something like a project or something and it was like 3 years ago, it's not valid for this. The stuff which you've had to done has to have been in the last 12 months, last year. So that's it, James. That's how people apply.
Perfect, thank you. And it's already been trickled through when you've been showing the collections and people are asking. So what is the prize, and is there one winner? How does it work?
So we wanted to go really big with this, and we wanted to make a significant prize, something which we've never done before. And you know, we look around us and we see the things which teachers are doing, and I know what everyone's waiting for. The prize is $10,000. Okay, so the winner of the Community Impact Award will receive $10,000, and it's a cash prize for you to spend however you like. You can spend it on a holiday when you can. You can spend it on home improvement. You can try and purchase a new car. You can do whatever it is that you want with this money. This is a reward for you. There's no obligation for you to use this money within your own school ecosystem. We've run lots of contests in the past which have been around class gift lists and class wish lists and things like that, where we will purchase your entire wish list for your class. This is different. This is about you. It's been a tough year, and we want to make sure that you're rewarded. And I think that $10,000 is enough to put a smile on anybody's face. We're also going to have 2 runner-up prizes of $2,500 each as well. So it's definitely worth it to get your application in as soon as possible, and get it ready for consideration for the judges. And on top of that as well, we really want to encourage you to share this with as many people as you can. You'll notice that once you finish submitting your collection, there's a button where you can tweet out that you've submitted your collection. We'd really encourage you to do that, because the only way for this to work, the only way for us to amplify the stories that we're getting and for us to kind of continue building out this community is for us to see as many educators as possible nominating themselves or other people for the prize. So yeah, $10,000. I'd love that.
No, honestly, such a great prize, and people in the chat are really excited by that. But I think what's also exciting is, like you said, Misbah, the fact that you can share your story as well. Say for any reason you don't win, you're still having the chance to showcase what you're doing, or what a colleague or a friend of yours is doing in the community, and can share that with our global community. So I think that's a great thing to get from this competition as well.
Yeah, exactly. The collection that you create is, although you're doing it for submitting it to this award, it will be a very, very, very powerful collection. Most likely the most powerful collection that you've created on Wakelet. You can add it to your digital portfolio. You can add it to your professional development. It becomes a living, breathing space that you can continue to add to showcase the things that you're doing in your community. So we really want you to think about this, reflect on it, and get really creative with your applications for sure.
100%. And with kind of getting creative, I know you've gone over a few tips, Misbah. But what would you say the judges will be looking for? I know you've gone over a bit of criteria, but are there any examples that you could share with anyone?
Sure, yeah. So obviously we've released this a few weeks back, and the applications are flying in, and we've had the opportunity to see some of those applications, and some of them are absolutely incredible, really, really good. And you just know, it's like you're rooting for these people. You're obviously, nobody at Wakelet is judging this contest, but there are some collections which you look at and you're like, yeah, this is one that the judges are going to absolutely love. I found 3 which are quite different from each other, but which are equally as powerful, and they're at different scales as well. And I want to share them with you super quick. So the first one is this educator here, Peter Amoabu, and Peter's showing how he's been strengthening literacy in Northern Ghana. Okay, so in this collection, he's got a really nice introduction about who he is. It's set out really, really nicely, and he, in a study, his 10 years of experience, he figured out that 99% of public pupils in public schools in Northern Ghana can't read. They really, really suffer with literacy. So he took it upon himself to do as much as he can to try and change that. And a very, very simple but powerful movement, just helping these kids learn to read. So he's added evidence there of what he's spoken about, and he's shared the story, the things which he's been doing in his community, and he started a program, an intervention program to combat the high illiteracy rate. And it's incredible. I mean, he's shown, again, like blog posts that he's done, articles that are written about the program. He's talked about the impact as well, how over 600 students became more literate through the community literacy program. He's got a certificate of recognition from other organizations. This is really powerful as well. And he's included some really beautiful photos as well of the children taking part in the program, pictures of himself and things happening. Now, this is a really, really strong application. I absolutely love it, because it explains the issue that his community faced, the activity that he's done to try and help that issue, and then it shows evidence of that issue actually being solved as well. So I absolutely love this. It's one of my favorite collections that we've received so far, and also videos as well, again using mixed media, showing videos of a class in progress as it happens. So yeah, absolutely love this one. Really good luck to Peter, honestly. It's an amazing collection. That the second collection which I want to look at is one from a teacher called Ankush Gawande from India. And his collection is really interesting because he's showing his innovative work and his achievements within his community. Again, very quick, he's got a nice introduction about who he is now, and he's founded a worldwide green project in his community to talk about sustainable development and that kind of thing. And he really stands out, the things which he's shown. He's got his CV, which he's uploaded there, which I'm sure the judges would like to look at. He's got a portfolio, he's got his certificates, and he's also shown in his local paper where he's appeared, clippings of the things that he's done. So this is like really, really good evidence of things that he's done within his community. Now, not everybody's appeared in a local newspaper. That's okay. When I show you these collections, I'm not saying you have to have had somebody write a news story about you or written in a local paper in order to be considered for this award. Not at all. Evidence can be something as simple as you taking a picture of the activity. It can be as simple as somebody tweeting out that they enjoyed the activity. Just something to show that there is evidence of what it is that you're doing happening. So yeah, again, a really good, solid application that has a lot of evidence. This is a very evidence-driven application, but it's a very, very strong one as well, because it's just showcasing the incredible things that he's done around that project. Just lastly, before we go to collections as well, I'm going to show you this one here. This is a collection that an educator's done to describe how they work on innovative education and ICT integration inside and outside the classroom as well. So this is a quick kind of recap of who NJ is, her realizations, some background behind it, innovation and coaching, a few really cool graphics to add some context to things that she's done. And then it just starts to list all the amazing contributions that she's made to her community through Facebook groups, through blog posts, through debates, through opening up this amazing dialogue with her students about ICT, about that kind of thing. So yeah, again, another really, and again, here you've got videos as well of coding activities with their students. So something like this, the judges are going to look at really, really well, because again, you're explaining who you are, explaining what the problem is that you're trying to solve in your community, and then showing how you've done it. So yeah, some really, really strong ideas there.
That's amazing. Thank you, Misbah. And a few questions had to come through around that. I know those collections were quite diverse in the way they impacted their community. But the very good question was, how would you describe impact? What can impact be on the spectrum?
Yeah, so we want to keep it as broad as possible. If you think that you've impacted your community positively, you probably have. Okay, so the impact doesn't have to be socially. It can be economically, it can be on an education level, it can be social, emotional, it can be anything. As long as you've made an impact to your community, your application is going to be considered. So keeping it really, really broad. Again, it can be outside of education as well. I know that a lot of people have volunteered for, things which are happening right now within the pandemic, health things, for example. It can be anything like that. We're opening this up to the entire community. If you feel like you've made a significant positive contribution and impact to your community, then you stand a chance of winning. And we encourage you to not only think about the things that you've done, because quite often we don't. Sometimes we just focus on the things that other people have done, but really look inside and look at the things that you've done, and you'll find that there would be some way for you to showcase how you've had that positive impact, whether it's your students, whether it's your community, whatever it might be.
Exactly, perfect. And I actually have a few questions that have come through if you want me to go through them, unless there's anything
that'd be
else
great.
you want to share.
Ask away.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for putting in your questions. Again, if you have any more, use that Q&A box. That's really easy for me to kind of pick the questions out. But Valerie has asked, and I suppose this is probably a question on everyone's lips, really. So obviously you said, they can nominate themselves, or they could kind of nominate someone else for the award. Can they do both? Can there be multiple people that they nominate in their community? Say there's a team of people. How would they best go about that?
Yeah, 100%. So if you want to nominate yourself and somebody else in your community, you can go ahead and do that. We understand that there are some people within the community that are going to get multiple nominations. When that happens, we're going to take the first nomination that comes through, or we're going to look at the collection which is the most significant and use that as their nomination. And we'll do it on a case-by-case basis. But it's important that you can only submit one application per person. So you can submit one application for yourself and then one application for other people. Now, let's say, for example, that you know a couple or a team of teachers, or maybe two teachers that you would like to nominate. You can also do that, as long as they are like not two completely separate people, but they've been working on the same thing at once. So you can also do that too.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Hope that's cleared up some questions in the chat there. Joy McLean said something at the very start with what you're saying, Misbah, that most people will probably be thinking about nominating other people, whereas, and maybe not realizing that, I actually do a lot in my community or in my school or in my classroom. I know it's kind of a weird one, really, but how would you kind of help people who are thinking, oh, I don't have anything to share, or I don't want to be sharing, I don't want to do it myself? How would you promote them to do it?
Okay. You're all educators, right? That makes you superheroes. There are things which you would be doing in a classroom or doing with your students that you would just think is normal. That's just part of your everyday activity. And quite often, I think as educators, you do these really special things so often that you forget how special they sound to people on the outside, people who aren't educators. I have a friend who's an educator, and they spend, 8 hours a day or 5 hours a day, sorry, um, doing, Zoom calls with their students. And at the end of the day, they're absolutely exhausted. And I imagine in my head, I'm tired after I do one webinar for an hour, Imagine, and I said to her, I said, that's like doing a 5 hour long webinar. That's exhausting. She's like, yeah, that's every day for me. Um, Honestly, there's an element of superhumanity in the things that you do. So take a step back and kind of look at what you've been doing for the last 12 months from the eyes of somebody who isn't an educator, and understand that very often the things that you do to go above and beyond, starting a particular club, for example, in your school, being a part of a club in your school, whatever it might be, focus on that, focus on where you think you made the most impact, and then include that in your application. Always remember that this is something really interesting, okay? People respond really, really well when somebody is enthusiastic about something and when somebody is passionate about something. And that stands to education as well. So when the judges will be looking at the collections, they're going to be looking for that passion and that enthusiasm. So I know that it may seem sometimes a little bit uncomfortable talking about the things that you've done, but you shouldn't be like that. Like, well, we want that to happen with this prize. That's the point of the whole prize, is for you to take the moment to congratulate yourself, to take the moment to appreciate and acknowledge that you've done some amazing things that in any other role look superhuman from the outside. And you guys have just got used to it because you're doing teaching every single day. It's the equivalent of like, you know, uh, somebody who works in a fire station putting out fires every day. They have their coffee break, something comes, and then they just every day they're just going and saving lives, and it's like that's work for them. But from the outside, people look at it and like, you're a hero every single day. So remember that that's the kind of profession that you're in, and find that empowerment to really create the things that you're passionate about within your community, and show the impact that you've made.
Yeah, exactly. And like we said at the start, it's probably easier for us to say, because we're taking an outside perspective looking in, and exactly that. And I think Joy said, kind of a term that gets thrown around is imposter syndrome, in teaching, and yeah, probably. But that's what we want to try and step out of. We want you to maybe just start with just noting down what you do in your community, and even if you just submit an application, submit a submission, thinking, oh, I'm just going to explain what I do and leave it at that. To you think that's just normal, but with the judges who will be reading these, who will be coming from all different backgrounds, by the way, different countries, different job roles, like I said, different backgrounds, to them, what you do that you think is normal will be incredible. So please don't be put off by seeing other applications that will be shared around, because like Ms. said, everyone has a story. And during these times, these stories have been quite remarkable, even if you don't think so yourself.
Exactly. I just saw a quick question from Chandni. Can we showcase volunteer work we're doing apart from our school work, like cybersecurity awareness or helping visually impaired orphans? Yeah, 100%. Teachers are really special people. I don't know where you find the time to do the things that you do. But yes, 100%. It doesn't have to be the things that you're doing in your school. It doesn't even have to be with your students. It's just how have you made a significant impact and positively impacted your community? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I think that's another thing to note as well. This isn't about Wakelet too. I don't know if people are maybe getting a bit confused in the chat. We as Wakelet, as the team, wanted to do this award for educators, for people everywhere across the world. We just happen to have Wakelet in front of the name. The Impact Award is for you and your impact on everything: your community, your school, your classroom, your friends, your families, people outside of it as well. So don't think it's your impact on Wakelet or your impact in sharing Wakelet. Like I said, it's impact how any way you see fit.
I see a few questions here. One from Nunez who says, "Is this an international award?" Yes, 100%. It's an international award, and it's open to everybody. You know, one of the things that we love at Wakelet is how global our community is, and you know, I think one of the things that brings a richness to this award is the fact that it's completely international. Just to reiterate as well, so there are 3 prizes in total, 3 winners. The first prize will receive $10,000 cash, and the second or the joint second prize is $2,500 each. Or maybe perhaps James, I'm gonna go ahead and share the link one more time for people in the chat who may have joined late.
Yeah, sure. I'll just pop it in there. Oh,
perfect. We both did. So yeah, you can just click that link and follow it along.
Wonderful. I have a few more questions, Misbah.
Sure.
Maybe do a bit of quick fire. Sarah asked, can you apply, then keep on updating the collection as long as it's before that deadline on the 9th of April?
100%, 100%, yes. What we'll be doing is, what's going to happen is your application will only be looked at on that date. On the date that we close the applications, that's the date that we will start looking at them. Any changes which are made to collections after that will not be considered.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I was replying in the chat there.
It's okay, that's sweet. Actually, Anamika has a really good point. She's saying, they are saying, due to COVID, you know, schools are shut, so a lot of the work and activities that they've been doing have been, you know, online, virtual. That's okay. That's okay. Any evidence that you can have to showcase that and talk about it is completely fine. You know, just because it's, I mean, to be honest with you, some of the greatest impacts that we've seen have been during this time. So don't think that we're not going to consider it just because it's not physical. When you see pictures like I showed you of kids in actual classrooms, don't think that you need those pictures. You know, that's not it. And again, just to reiterate what James said as well, this award is not about Wakelet. Okay, it has nothing to do with Wakelet. We're not that interested in hearing how you're using Wakelet or how you're sharing Wakelet with your community. It's not about Wakelet. This award is about yourself and the things that you have done. So don't feel that in your application you need to talk about the things that you're doing to share Wakelet within your community. That's not what this is about. Just to reiterate with that.
Yeah. Thank you, Misbah. There's so many questions coming through now. I feel like there's more than there was at the beginning. Hopefully that's a lot more clearer though for everyone in what to enter. And again, just want to reiterate, please don't be put off by putting a submission in for yourself, because again, you do a great job, and we'd love to see what you're doing, and I'm sure the judges will be inspired by what you're doing day to day that you think is normal. There was one thing I wanted to mention, but it's completely slipped my mind.
That's, I don't know, that's fine, James. I mean, I just wanted to show everybody this. I don't know if it's in, but yeah, Friday, 9th of April. Yep. Remember that date. That's the date that you need to get your application in by. And again, to reiterate with James, yeah, you don't have to nominate other people only. This is for you.
Yeah,
I think that's it. We've got a few questions here in the chat, really, that have not come through on the Q&A. One from Ekaterina, I think, I hope I pronounced your name right. How many Wakelet collections is essential? Just one. We only need one Wakelet collection that showcases the things that you've done. Could we use any other tool, Shada asks? Could we use any other tool to participate and embed in the Wakelet? 100%. It's open for you. Honestly, there aren't many rules for this, guys. Just read the tips that we've given you and just work around that. There's no such thing as a perfect collection. All of your collections are going to be different. All of them are going to have your footprint and your identity and your passions on them. That's what we want to see. We want to see variance. We don't want to necessarily see every collection fitting the same thing. So just have that freedom to add whatever you want and create it however you want. Okay, I think that we're good there. We've gone over time by about 8 minutes. We've got one message from Iman saying, can students nominate their teacher? Unfortunately, Iman, applicants, and that's any applicants, has to be over 18. If your students are 18 or over, then they can nominate their teachers. But if they're under 18, then unfortunately not. They will not be able to nominate their teachers. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to, sorry, have you got anything else to say, James?
I was going to say as well, if some people don't feel, again, comfortable doing it themselves, feel free to ask another teacher to nominate on behalf of themselves. They can put an application, might be able to explain it a lot more better than yourself in explaining how you impact the community. So that's always an option to ask a fellow colleague or a friend to submit one on your behalf.
I just want to finally read this one comment from Zelika, I think, who says, this gives a recognition to all the efforts that some do to make this world better by making an impact around them. What a motivation. Think global, act local. Yeah, absolutely love that. I couldn't have said it better myself. Chandni, I can see that you're asking for focus points and rubrics. I mean, all of that's included in the criteria that me and James have shared it. All the information that you need is there. Please don't overthink this too much, okay? I know I can see a lot of questions in the chat, people asking lots and lots of different questions. Do not overthink it, okay? At Wakelet, everything is superhuman, okay? I know that a lot of you, when you've done applications for things in the past or entered competitions, it's very, strict in this. Wakelet is very flexible. We're a flexible team, we're a flexible platform, and at the end of the day, humanities are everything that we do. So, we'll understand what it is, whatever message you're trying to convey through your collection, we will understand it, the judges will understand it. Don't second guess yourself, just get it out there. Okay, fantastic. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I know it's only been a short webinar today, but hopefully I want to encourage every single one of you to have a little think tonight about a moment or a thing that you've been involved in, and create that Wakelet collection, get it started, work on it up until April if needs be, and get it sent out to us, because we can't wait to see your stories. We can't wait to share them. And I really, really hope that one of you takes home the prize. The people who are joining us today, I'm really rooting for you all. It's a great prize. It's very, very much worth joining in. And we're going to be announcing the prize winners during Community Week. I know that you all remember Wakelet Community Week is going to be bigger and better this year with even more crazy things happening. And we'll be announcing who the prize winner is there. So it's something nice to look forward to in the summer. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Really, really appreciate it. James, I don't know if you've got any final words for anyone.
Just that I'm really excited to see these collections come through. Again, we're not the ones judging this. We've got a panel of judges who will be doing it separately. So I suppose we have the fun bit, but we get a chance to look through all these collections, these applications, and share them around with our community as well. So that'll be a fun thing for us for sure.
Exactly. Thank you all so much, everybody. We really appreciate it. Stay safe. Keep doing the amazing things that you do in your communities, and just remember that the whole Wakelet team is in awe of the things that you do every single day as educators. And it's a privilege and an honor to be working in this environment where we get to see these incredible things happen. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you at the next webinar. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.